Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Frame podcast. I've got Dawan and Femi as usual with me, and I thought I'd just get on with it. So I just start with an anecdote that kind of happened this weekend that I thought was quite funny. So I went out for dinner with our family and that, and I went to the toilet, washed my hands and everything, no problem. And then the guy in front of me used the hand dryer. That's cool. So I went in and tried to use it, and it just wouldn't click for me. Every time I try to wave my hand under it or do this, and it would just go boom and then come off. It's like it didn't recognize my hand, even though I could see the red marker on my hand. It just wouldn't work. And I'm like, I'm not exactly gonna say, oh, that's discrimination or whatever. I just thought at the time I was like, it's one of those ones where you just gotta wipe it on your trousers and forget about it because you ain't gonna. They don't do paper towels anymore, so you just gotta. That's what you gotta do. But I just thought that was quite funny this year. I don't know if you guys have experienced something like that as well.
Personally, for myself, obviously, I wouldn't say I have, but but I've seen like see memes or funny jokes of where because of someone's skin is a bit too dark, the machine is being a bit racist. The machine, the sensor is being racist, so it's not gonna recognize you, and it's gonna be like, nah, you're too dark. I ain't working for you.
That's pretty much what it was, but I'm just like, here we go again. So I was like, well, what are you gonna do? It's like I'm not gonna sit there and switch at the manager, going, how dare your skin be so like doesn't pick up my skin? It's like they didn't know when they bought it, whatever. Just went down, sat down. It was nothing too much, but it was just nice to just go. You know what? I've just missed going out, and
Mhm.
I don't know. I've missed like I was talking for like 5 hours and stuff. And like my jaw started to hurt because I swear I've not been even talking that much every day.
Yo. Well, because of the lockdown and everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all always on our phones and like typing and stuff.
Oh,
So you're always like looking at screens, but you're not actually you're absorbing media and you're looking at media, but you're not interacting with it and you're not speaking to it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like I was after a while, I was like, yo, my mouth's gone dry, like my jaw hurts, and I'm like, maybe I'm just a weak person. But I thought, no, do you know what? We've just not been speaking. And when you're at home with your family, like you don't speak
Yeah,
as much as because you're just like, that's just standard now. We don't need to speak as much as we used to.
yeah. That even for me as well, it's kind of similar. It's like there's like obviously everyone just sticks in their room and just usually either just on their phone or on their laptop or whatever. And obviously, the only time we all interact is either, let's say, I don't know, Christmas.
Yeah, or a celebration, right?
Yeah, then everyone is gonna be like, oh, we're all here. Actually, we're all here, and then we start talking. But apart from that, yeah, that I think it's just a new norm now. Actually, that
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then, especially the young generation,
mm,
I was going into, especially with families.
yeah,
I've got little cousins, so I was going into a room and it was very quiet. There's about 12 of them.
mm,
It was very quiet. I thought, let me check up on them. Are they alright? And I look at them. Each one of them is on an iPad, a mobile phone, and instead of
oh,
talking to each other, they're texting each other, even though they're in the same room. I was like, come on, man. I mean, back in the days, there was a video game we would play, go outside, play football.
yeah,
I'm talking about before lockdown, obviously.
mm-hmm,
But I
You know,
tell you
a year ago,
what,
but
is it
still.
that different to when we used to get like a PS2 multi-tap and then like play four controllers on one computer? And people
Yeah.
didn't used to speak to each other. They just used to like it's who could finish first kind of thing. So technically, what they're doing is more interactive than what we used to do. Do you know what I
mm.
mean?
Well,
No,
yeah,
I think we were more interactive in terms of we had conversations. We would talk about politics
yeah,
at a young age. I realized, or something that matters to us. These guys are just, I don't know what they're not texting each other. At least talk. Say something. They're just
Mm.
texting each other with a phone, looking at internet. Oh, look at my friend. She's got a new bag, or look at my friend. They played Slapface or something. I don't know what games little kids play.
Bro, you're sounding so old right now.
like,
Yeah,
yeah,
But I get you. No, it's funny though, because that's one thing that I think when I have my family, or whatever, that's
mm,
one thing I'm gonna have is that will be obviously when you have a 9 to 5, whatever, you're gonna be separate from the
mm,
family. But I do
yeah,
like having dinners and stuff together because I think
yeah,
that's the time I always like put my phone away. chill with my family. Then we can go off and do our own stuff. But that kind of time around food and stuff, I find is like kind of sacred in a way. That's like something that you can kind of talk about whatever you want to talk about, just kind of messing about, talking about nothing, and then afterwards you can go back on your phone or do what you need to do after that.
Yeah, I definitely think that because I feel obviously as technology is coming into play, it's becoming more that like obviously we have the opportunity to be a lot more closer, but yet we're still very disconnected. So probably having that family setup where you have dinner and everything would obviously allow people to, you know, to talk to each other more. And I think that's what used to happen. But as technology came into play, all of that sort of kind of stopped basically. It's all about just have your dinner, go to your room, eat there, and then once you're done, I don't know, you go back to what you were doing before. And also, you know, the multiplayer for consoles as well. Because now with obviously you can even notice that obviously they've gotten rid of most consoles don't necessarily have local players anymore, like local multiplayers. It's all online and everything. So it's just it's just like that. And obviously once the new I'm sorry, once the Neuralink comes into play, well, that's even yeah, we're just gonna be in our own heads.
Playing with each other's minds.
Exactly. I
There'll
don't
be
know,
more
man.
secrets in that mind, isn't it? That can be hackable or gain access to, sharing ideas of all sorts.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's yeah. To me, it seems like it's obviously would have its positive and it will have its negative because you know the ability to be able to if obviously the neural link and everything will get more and more advanced. Obviously, it will be more like having your phone in your head instead of obviously having it in your hand. And obviously, it's not always that instead of holding it, it's just 24/7 plugged into the internet whenever you want. And that I think that would be that's there's a positive to it because that would mean obviously you have access to all the information you want and everything. But obviously the fact that that all of our data and everything are also being sold, then most likely I feel like they can hack the entire mind and sell an entire human mind and just sell an entire
Pretty
human
much.
mind.
I mean, if you can back up and replicate onto a robot, which is
Yeah,
expected,
yeah,
I'm sure they will sell your mind. Let's say you're about to die and you want to put your mind into a robot. I don't know
yeah,
why you would do that, but if you want to do that, it'll probably cost, especially the rich people.
yeah,
Yeah, but that's the kind of I think that's one of being human as well, because we're only on this earth for a certain amount of time, and we can only learn a certain amount of. It's only valuable to learn information because we're only here for a certain amount of time. So the fact is that people want to. I don't know why somebody would want to live forever because your body starts to decay and melt, and that's just part of human existence. You die, you go back into the ground, or whatever. Then new stuff comes from that, and
yeah,
I'm just like, it just because then you could learn anything you'd ever want to learn, and then what? And then what? And then
yeah,
you're just done, and then you're just kind of like, right, we're just gonna sit here and exist in this kind of hell.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
I
it's
know.
not beautiful anyway. Right now is worse
Yeah,
than it could ever be.
What
yeah,
do you mean?
Well, I mean, the whole life cycle we're in at the moment, the pandemic,
mhm,
where we're always in stress, going to work, this, money, finance, how to manage this, life. It isn't. It's not. It's not as much of an adventure as others would expect. I would say. When you're young, you're like, oh, my future's gonna be. I want to be this. I want to become that. It doesn't really work like that, does it?
But that's everybody at every stage as well, especially from school. Like I was listening to a podcast just yesterday, and they were talking about like how we're becoming a theoretical generation, where it's like, well, the best thing to do is go to university and
mhm,
learn the theory skills. But in reality, it's there's a lack of physical hand movement skills, if you know what I mean.
yeah,
Like jobs that you to like use your hands. It's all theory based, but like a doctor, they spent 8 years at university or whatever. But if you know all the theory about all the body and whatever, but it's like what we did. We learned a lot of theory about how computers work and whatever. We didn't actually work on a computer at once. When the computer was broken, we go, how do we fix it? We go, I don't know. because we just didn't. We just learned all the theory about how a computer works, not actually how to fix a computer when it's broken. I think that's the bit that's lacking the most, the kind of apprenticeship level hands-on skill work that's actually the most important. So I think in a certain way that there's the most people going to university as possible, which is good, but it just means doesn't mean that we're actually earning more money, because it just means the playing field is more competitive.
Yeah. Dawan, if you can talk, I'm trying to sort out my lighting here.
What's
Femi's
going
going
with
to
your
tell some
lighting?
spooky stories later.
My lighting went off. I was just trying to sort that out. Yeah. I think you can see me okay now, right?
It's all
Yeah,
good.
it's clear, mate.
Okay.
It just went completely black, and I was like,
Yeah,
we'll leave Femi talking.
I fully agree in terms of the fact is we don't get that practical experience until we're actually employed. But then the employments these days, they ask for, I don't know, 5 years experience, which obviously is a lot more advanced than just practical work. So it's very difficult. The only way you could actually learn is actually bringing, for example, in terms of deriving from your answer about the computers, actually opening up your computer and breaking it apart, and finding out each piece by piece and understanding how it all comes together. And that's I think where we become different or unique one another. That if we are ambitious, we would tear apart a computer and be able to understand it, rather than someone else who just expects someone to tell him where to go, where to do, what you need to do. And that's where the employment is difficult to find, and that's the only way to make someone employed than the other. Because at the end, if you all have the same qualifications but you don't have that one experience of actual practical work, then it won't give you the advantage as you would like to.
That's definitely understandable, because obviously, that's why because now having a degree has become such a norm that most people have it. It's like those companies always look for something that that just kind of puts you just over the edge of everyone else. So that's why obviously when they say, oh, you'd need like 5 years experience, you said, and this amount of experience is sort of what's needed now. I even feel like most obviously you're even more likely to get employed if you've got if you've got experience rather than degree. Because I've actually had some people say, "Oh, I've not got any degree, but I'm just working based on my experience of of doing this certain job, and that's put me up and up and up." I'm like, "Oh man, I went to uni, spent like 3 years studying to get a degree, but we're in the same position now." But apart from that, I think the what I think needs to be added is that people needs to be, like I said, it needs to be a lot more technical now. We need to be a bit more, instead of just reading a book and then obviously just pouring it out on paper and whatnot. We need to actually try and be more technical, be a bit more hands-on basically, and stuff like that. But apart from, I think those stuff needs to be implemented anyway for us to be more, I don't know, more, I don't know what word to use. I think I forgot the word I was more out there, I think. Yeah, more out there, I think. But yeah.
But it's hard to, especially in the technology world, where like you were saying, take about a laptop. I ain't take about my laptop. It's what, like, it's too. If it goes wrong, the consequences are too much. It's not like Lego bricks where you can just kind of like take apart, put it back together. But that kind of engineering from scratch is kind of awesome. We've done it with projects that we've done together, and we realize even the simple stuff is like really complicated if you build it from scratch. But I just think that, especially when they're kids. But with us, it was like the first you need to go to university because our parents didn't have the opportunity and stuff like that. So since you're here, make the most of it and make the most of you going to university. So I'm just like, it's not. I just think the pendulum is swinging back the other way, where it's like it's not as important as what it was, because you don't need a degree to get a job. And as you were saying, Femi, it's more important to have experience. But looking back at it, there's not as much experience. This is why I believe that like even university, 18 is like way too young to go to university. I think it should be pushed up to at least 21 to actually have an idea of what the hell's going on and how
Yeah.
much. I don't know how much percent of people do a degree that is actually relevant to their field. I don't know how much that is, but it's like a majority of the percentage don't do anything to do what their degree did. So it shows you how much power the degree actually has. But also, people have the ability to change their mind. But if the majority of people are changing their mind, you've got to think, well, what's the point in it in the first place if it's not going to be relevant? But as we were saying before, the best thing about university is the teaching experience, the learning experience of meeting other people and getting out in a new city and stuff, and having a more flexible schedule than a 9 to 5. You can kind of like work in the evenings, work in the day, meet people when you want to design your own skills. That's one thing that I miss from university a bit more. It's not just like you do 9 to 5, you go home, but by the time you get home, you're knackered. So if there's that option of kind of having a work balance where you could work around the clock or you could design your own schedule, that would be so much better, because the factory shop and stuff is definitely declined from where the education system is still remains.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I 100% do miss that aspect of university where you have a lot more free time in terms of obviously what you can do, whether you can read, you can study, you can work, you can meet friends and everything. And obviously you kind of lose all that once you do start the journey of a 9 to 5 basically. So yeah, I think, and even I remember that one of my teachers from college was telling me that, oh, that once you start uni, that once uni ends, you should make the most of your time when you're at uni, because once it ends, everything kind of just goes downhill. and
Yeah. He's,
and he and he, and when he was saying that, then I've always thought, wait, is it that bad? It's not that bad, really. It's not that bad, but obviously now me experiencing it myself, I do notice that actually, you know, once you do get into the corporate world, it's like, yeah, it's, yeah,
You just got
it
to. The
feels
thing is,
like there's a lot to do, you know, in the, as you're referring to as a corporate world. It's just feels like we're used, you know, we're a product at the end of the day for that CEO, for that business to run well, not us to achieve what we want to achieve in the future, you know, purchasing a house or anything like that. You need big salary, you need the schedule, as Neel was mentioning. You want to be working flexible. You aren't, if you don't work, if you don't, let's say, for example, you leave 5 minutes earlier, it will be noticeable. Why are you leaving 5 minutes early? It's just 5 minutes. I've done what I needed to do. Well, you know, we pay you to be here for 5 p.m. or whatever your time is. And if you do stay longer, they're not going to pay you that extra money or for half an hour, but they will notice that you did stay over for that 1 hour, but you don't get anything for it. So at the end of the day, I just feel like you are a product at the end. Once you know, even at university, you're a product because you're paying your debt, even though the government's paying, or if you're doing student loans, you still have to pay that back, and that interest keeps increasing year by year, where you still get to 70 and you still may not even repay it, considering they've done 3 times the amount for 1 year of your course.
yeah, that is 100% true. And obviously, it's just a little bit like bizarre that that's what happens. And what I find is obviously in other countries like I don't know, is it China or whatnot, they don't pay for unis there. It's like
yeah,
uni.
but they're communism, bro. They do a lot of stuff differently in China.
Oh.
Yeah, but even Sweden, they you know, the government pays for your education,
Yeah.
university,
Germany as well,
Scotland as well.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
only a few countries. I don't think it's only the majority because they appreciate how much it costs to go to university. But I don't know. I think because the pendulum is swinging so much, it's going to come back the other way. And a lot of them degrees, how much are they going to be relevant to the job? And also, it means that people haven't realized that the market's been saturated, like with that, how much money that's going into it and how much you earn from it. Like the line is still is closing in where it used to be for like our parent generation. If you went to university, you would earn £250,000 more than if you didn't. But that line is A, getting smaller compared to how much debt it is, and B,
Yeah.
the wages haven't increased as much as the living cost has. Like, for example, £250,000 over your lifetime of our parents would buy them a couple of houses, kind of thing. And bearing in mind, if you have children, I think it's like £100,000 per child until they're 18. So
Wow.
like that's how much they cost in terms of just maintenance and stuff like that, let alone the housing and just extra stuff like that. So that's why I think a lot of people are not having kids as well, because I don't know, I'm definitely weighing it up because I'm not, I don't say I don't want them, but I'm like, man, it's just going to cost so much money now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It seems like, and things like things are getting expensive, but people's wages aren't increasing.
It's
So
yeah,
it's yeah, so it's just what like we're stagnant and not moving anywhere, and it's a bit, it's just sad really. But I just feel like I don't know what someone can do to change it, apart from obviously if you venture out and take a risk and try and start your own business or something like that. But apart from that, the 9 to 5 thing is sort of limited really. You're just gonna be there and just just work, try and work your way up, I guess. But yeah,
yeah, because we
it's
won't
great.
have a pension. Our retirement age will be maybe might be up to like 90. You're
Imagine,
gonna keep
imagine, imagine.
imagine it's closing on 80 at the moment, isn't it, or
Ah,
70? It's
yeah,
closing on a
yeah.
high, so imagine in another 60 years what that's going to be.
Well, uh, imagine using a one. Then what about people working in like factories and stuff now? Imagine being 90-year-old or whatever, and be using a walking stick and still be expected to lift heavy stuff.
But I think technology will improve by then. Do you know
Yeah,
what I
I
mean? I
guess.
think the factory jobs and stuff like that will just be
Yeah,
replaced by robots. So then the
yeah,
question is, like we've said, what next? What
yeah.
after
Yes.
all the human jobs are replaced by? What is the role of the human after the work has stopped or
Mm,
work has been taken care of and everything is kind of like churning on itself?
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think it's just we just have to just like I don't know, wait and see what the world has to offer. But I don't want to. Obviously, we've been talking about this. I want to. Have you? Do you guys see the what was it? The Is this Have you heard of Jennifer Lopez, J Lo?
Who hasn't?
Yeah.
Doesn't know J Lo?
It's just it's because obviously I think maybe a video came out of her in like a most recent music video or whatnot. She was doing like a live performance of it or something. And obviously what people were finding is that the way she was like dancing and everything, people were like saying wait that she is being a little bit too out there, and I think she's 50, is she 50 or something like that.
She
She's
is
quite,
beyond
yeah,
50, yeah, she is.
she's quite old, and and she's being a bit out there. And I was just going through the comments, and they were saying, "Whoa!" One person pointed out and saying, "Whoa!" Back in the days, women complained about obviously men sexualizing women and making them an object, but now they sort of are doing it themselves. They are, you know, the one that's actually doing it themselves. Like a dude isn't selling a woman to do it. It's a woman that's kind of just, doing those kind of things themselves. And like, for example, OnlyFans, you know.
Yeah, basically, it's
Look, man, what they're trying to do, OnlyFans is sick. They're trying to get their own business started.
Yeah,
Like, and it's minimal running plans or whatever. They got their own equipment themselves and starting it. I mean, why not? Why don't we support stuff like that? It's not for me, but I mean, go for it if you want to do it, because it not make sense, but it's something that again people for me I don't get it because I'm just like you can just see that stuff online, but
yeah, I
if
guess.
you really want and it's free, but I'm like, but again, it's I don't know. I think for the J Lo thing, I just don't care.
I know. But,
I'm more just like, yeah, she's 15, she's rocking it. So what? The Latin culture is quite sexualized and it's quite sexual, and why not just do it? And I think there's all sorts. What it is now, Femi, is that
yeah,
everybody is allowed a voice. So
yeah,
imagine
yeah.
like in a room where everybody's shouting at one person,
Mm.
positive, good, neutral. You're just like, what the fuck is happening? So you just got to kind of like not minimize. No, you just got to kind of like I don't know. Comment sections. I tend to just read the top one or two that people are thumbs up, and then I just ignore the rest because some of them are just. A lot of people are just saying stuff that's not even
Rubbish.
relevant, or they've managed to
Yeah.
find something and they're like, oh, she's got a diamond on her dress, and also Princess Diana wore her diamond, so therefore she's part of the Illuminati royal family Epstein thing. And then they just, and you're
All
like,
these things, and it just
you
plays with your
wore a
mind so
diamond,
much.
you know,
Yeah.
exactly.
And exactly that. I'm not really into showbiz, so whatever these, I'll call them millionaires, want to do, they've got the money, they've got the recognition, the fan base. If it helps them increase their revenue, go ahead, do it. I mean, what's going to happen? A newspaper will talk about them negatively, or as you've opened up the chat about her, probably get discussed more, and she probably likes it. You know, she probably wants you to talk more about her, to be on the news like Elon Musk has been for the whole bloody year, man. I'm like, how many times have we mentioned this guy? He's been
Exactly.
and he wants that conversation to keep on going. He wants his name to be on every headliner.
Yeah.
That's the sort of person he is, and every other.
Well, there's Elon Musk who's doing so well from this, and like Tesla stocks are going up and up and up. But the person that's the best at it, just exactly what you were saying, Dawan, is Donald Trump. He is the best at manipulating the media and getting exactly what he wants. Exactly, like he just goes, I'm going to say something ridiculous, and you're all going to fall for it, and everybody, all the newspaper fall for it all the time, and you're just like, whether it's right or wrong or whatever you think, it's just he knows exactly how to play it, like to the T, to the fact that and the thing is, he just says more and more ridiculous stuff so that people, I think he knows it's not true, but he just knows that what is the publication going to be of this, and it's the fact that he can always make headlines. It's the whole build the wall thing. It's not even gone ahead. He's not talked about it in ages.
I know, it's true.
So he's like, yeah, we're going to build a wall, and people were like, okay. And then a lot of people were like, no, this is stupid. It doesn't work because aeroplanes work and blah, blah, blah. And majority of people that want his immigration come up, there's all sorts of stuff like that. But he just said that just to that shock value. And he's just become the king of that. And regardless, he knows his team and him knows what they're doing in terms of playing the media, because he plays them like chess and they fall for it every single time. And it's just going to keep happening.
Yeah.
With sarcasm, it doesn't really work well with them.
Bro, do you honestly think that Donald Trump understands sarcasm?
I don't know, maybe he does. Or he just bullshits so much.
It's just whatever he says. It's like, no, this is fact for now, because that's what I'm saying.
This is your headline. Use it now, or your fake news.
Exactly. It's dictator Trump. It's just funny. It's funny, but then I'm glad I'm not in America, because we're coming out of stuff. Imagine that you're still stuck, and it's like it's gonna be mad.
What I wanted to say is that imagine obviously, because obviously Americans, they've got guns and everything. Imagine if we in the UK have guns, we're allowed to carry guns. How bad do you think it's gonna? How bad do you think it's gonna be? I think it's gonna be worse in America, but how?
I don't know, man. I just can't imagine it. I just can't imagine them having guns in this country. It'll be crazy.
Yeah, it would be bad. Road rage, someone pulls out their gun.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, in Birmingham, we already had a few stabbings. So, multiple stabs. Imagine if they had guns available.
But what it is, man.
Shootings every day would be a normal situation.
What it is, stabbings have been happening for a while, especially in Birmingham and big cities. The knife crimes are like an all low.
Sorry, I'm just quickly going to get my light is about to turn off. I'm just quickly going to get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, like stabbings and everything are actually like violence, and serious violence is actually at an all-time low as time goes on, because just generally there's not as much violence as there was in the 1970s, 1980s and stuff like that, and it's just less and less. But what it is, I think it's a narrative to kind of demonize black people, and to say that, especially recently, you've heard the whole black on black violence, which is just not true. I think if you guys want to listen to Akala, he's really good at that, breaking down stuff on that. But it's that whole narrative of why it's been brought back now. Yes, it is increasing, but it's nowhere near the level it was in the 70s or whatever. And they just report it more. Do you know what I mean? And a lot of the areas that they have, I'm like, they do it near where I live. But I'm like, no, if you, like where I live, it's like, if you stay out of trouble, if you don't go looking for trouble, you won't find it. But if you go looking for it, you could. It's parts of London are like that as well. Dawan, you know first. You and Femi know firsthand. If you go looking for trouble, you can find it. And some people, when they get drunk or they just are being stupid, they look for trouble and they're gonna find it.
Yeah, of course. There's always a situation where people could have mental issues. It could be all these side effects going on, and then you could be a victim just by being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But sometimes it's just something that's just has to happen, and unfortunately, that person that becomes a victim, if it happens by coincidence or whatever, then you don't know what to do. I mean, so for example, a person went to I remember like 10 years ago, one of the young kids just went to get some chicken and chips, and unfortunately there was a drive through, and they started shooting. I think it was southeast London somewhere, and this young kid got shot, and they mistaken that young kid with someone else. So you don't know what to do in that situation. You look like someone else, and they start shooting wherever the concert. They shouldn't have shot anyway.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
those decisions that you make that ruins one person's life is like, come on, you could have dealt with it way better than that.
Is that too bright?
Yeah, the light's
No, that's better, man. That's better. That's all good.
Yeah. Oh, that's too bright. Yeah. I've been battling with Femi and the battle of the lights. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. As you were saying, as you guys were talking about the stabbings in Birmingham. I sort of, because what I've realized is that it tends to happen within obviously within the black culture, that it
It
tends to.
doesn't, Femi. That's the thing.
Yeah.
A lot of it's just reported. And also, if you're saying it's within black culture, that means that you're more likely to stab than me or Dawan because you're black. That's essentially what that means. Out of the three of us, you're more likely to stab somebody just because you're black.
Yeah.
So there's kind of understatements of that when I think 80% or like 80 or 60% of all stabbings are done by adults, let alone teenagers. So all violence and homicides and stuff are mostly done by adults. So there's this whole narrative of especially black teen boys, but they don't make up I think they make up like out of all of the percentages. Looking at the card last time, it was like 0.05% of all. I don't know if it's black teenage boys or all black people end up being stabbed or stabbing.
Wow.
So exactly. So the percentage actually. So again, this narrative runs true in so many different cultures. So even then, it's not true. But if you break it, that's what I like about Akada as well. He breaks it down like that. He just goes, well, if say there's five of us and me two, and then two of the white people, and then us five, it means that you're going to be more likely to be aggressive and stab somebody just because you're black. That's where the kind of the insidious racism nature comes from in that statistic. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And even if you look at some countries, like you look at a lot of African countries and like especially like Ghana and stuff like that, they're not as violent as countries in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah. Then personally, I think that it's something. There's something more to the stabbings then, because obviously remember we spoke about it during one of our last podcast about obviously the stabbings that's going on, and obviously we said that the stabbings have always happened, and obviously it wasn't exclusive to to black people. It was more of or to black boys. It was more that it happened everywhere, and obviously they had the system to kind of shut it down or to reduce it. But the problem is that when it now came to it being with black boys, that same system wasn't implemented, which then obviously caused it to become a problem, a major problem that it is now. So it's obviously I said it was obviously systematic racism that's the problem or that's causing it. And I still think that's it. But I just feel like I don't feel like there's nothing we can do apart from if we try ourselves to try and change it or try and do something about it.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I think if they put that money that it costs to smash them in jail for so many years, and they put that into rehab or actually working with families. And you take out, if you take out, I think it was, if you take out social economic issues, if you take out background issues, single parent issues, you realize that race makes no difference.
Yeah.
They'll be stabbing at the same rate if they're white, black, whatever color. So again, it was that same thing as they did in Scotland. They did the same study and they realized that it's nothing really to do with race. It's all to do with socioeconomic situations. So, but because somebody is black, they tend to highlight that more, in the same way that if you watch, like, when there's a terrorist that's Muslim or brown, that's the first thing that gets plastered everywhere, rather than if you look at a lot of what they say, if they're people that consider themselves Muslim or whatever, a lot of the reasons why they're blowing people up is for political reasons, not particularly for religious reasons.
Yeah.
So again, it's misshaping the truth of what actually is.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. But what do you think, Dawan? I'm just struggling here with this freaking light. Literally just struggling here.
For me, in the next episode, hopefully going to get a lamp.
Yeah, I think so.
You're saying, Femi, sorry.
No, I was just asking you what you thought.
What the light?
About, yeah, no, about the stab, not about the stabbings and everything.
Well, as I was mentioning, it's just wrong decisions being made. I mean, you could deal with it, just punch the person in the face. Why do you have to pick up a knife and stab if you really hate them? Just ignore it. I don't know what. I mean, the issue is we don't know what's going on in that person's mind. What are they suffering from? Because there could be anything. There could be finance issues that person's having, personal issues. That person could have cheated on them or whatever the situation is. It's just the fact that something goes into your mind to pick up a knife and go ahead stabbing, I don't know, 6-7 people around you. Just why? I mean, whoever has this issue in your mind, just go ahead and see a psychologist and talk to someone about it. And the issue tends to be loneliness, and especially the fact that we're during the pandemic, during this lockdown, everybody's being at home, being lonely, talking to themselves and these situations or patterns that they're experiencing. It can give you wrong mindsets and wrong things implanted into your brain. It's just human nature. A lot of people say, as they used to say, it's best to have a bad friend than have no friends, because at least you have someone to talk to, than being lonely and putting all this furies into your head and things into your head. And I don't know, you could, like, for example, you go to sleep at night, as we all did when we were kids. You look outside the window, you hear things that you're not supposed to hear. It's just you in your bedroom, but all these things come into your head. Oh, is there something under the bed? Is there the door locked? These things that comes into your head, even though you're sure of it. It's just human nature. You can't really deal with it. But I'm just disappointed we're still having stabbings, shootings, all these attacks still going on. I just hope that, I don't know if it ever will improve, because we're still going to build these sort of people in the same environment. So we're still going to have those copy mindsets into this world. I don't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could talk to someone and that person could have a good friend, tells them not to do it, A and B, and that person will still do it. It's like there's a path, and that path has already been created. Once you think of it, you can't really change it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's just, I just feel that obviously we just have to work on it ourselves. I don't think there'll be anyone that will come in to try and help. We'll just have to literally just be like, oh, we can't keep doing this. We can't keep killing each other, and we just have to do it ourselves and try and sort our own issue. Because if we don't, no one, who would actually help? Like, no one will actually come and assist. We just have to just do it ourselves. Yeah. But anyway, moving from that, what do you guys think about the the lockdown, now that obviously kids are going back to school and everything.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about it?
I feel sorry for these kids, personally, in many ways. The fact is, they during once the school got locked down, their grades. I don't know if it was a good thing or a bad thing, but their grades got expected results, so they didn't really do tests or exams. Some of them had to go to sixth form, college, or even university, and now they're starting. A lot of their knowledge content from their last 6 months has probably either forgotten about, especially for some of these kids, or they haven't really done any learning. So they're going to go into class being very unsure. And now with this virus still leaking around, it's not going to be comfortable. Imagine going to school in this sort of time, and the parents, I don't know how they're going to deal with their kids coming back home and wearing uniform, every day the same clothes. Obviously, you're not going to have 3 blazers. I didn't have 2 blazers when I was going to school. I did wash it, but I was usually end of the week. I had 2 shirts or 3 shirts, depending on how many I had. So you can't wear the same shirt every day, and you got to keep washing it. And I don't know how they're going to wash their shoes. So it is difficult. The virus is still leaking around. If they get the virus, how do they deal with it? Because it's still life-threatening for everyone.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking that do you think a second wave will happen at this rate, or do you think we just have to maybe just ignore it?
Well, have you guys seen the amount of cases the last, well, let's say 5 days? I wouldn't even say a week, just last 5 days. It's been average 1,500 cases a day.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yesterday was 1,900. That's a weekend. Usually the weekend is less, way less than a weekday.
Wow. So it's getting that bad already?
Of course, yeah. I'm just shocked that they're actually talking about. Well, furlough's going to end, so people have to go back to office. But they're actually recommending people who can work from home to work in the office, just to go out there into, because obviously those offices have many shops, local shops that haven't run their business well. So they're trying to force people to go to their office and spend money to those local shops, because obviously during lunch hour there's a lot of spending going on during that time, and for their services to be used. And I don't know why they're forcing people to do it, especially when cases are rising.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It seems like obviously because they can't keep people locked down forever, and they need to somehow jumpstart the economy. So it's like we either just bite the bullet and just go for it, and and if people, obviously I don't want to sound cruel, but it's gonna be like, oh, if people die, then there's no good way of putting it, really. But I just think that it's a bad situation, and we're here, and we just have to just try and do what we can, really. Just have to try and just push through. What do you guys think about the vaccine? Like, because I've been hearing news about them saying, oh, a vaccine will come out, or a vaccine. I think they even said Russian vaccine is like 100% like curing the.
A vaccine is like the thing you got to compare it to is the flu vaccination. It's going to prevent you getting it a little bit, but it's not going to prevent it 100%. And the way they're talking about it is that you're never going to get COVID ever again. It's like, no, you're going to get it at some point, and we're going to come to a winter where it combines with the flu, and nobody knows what's going to happen when it does that. It could mutate bigger, it could mutate less, it could just do whatever. So I don't know. I just encourage people to try and increase your immune system. Just do your research and increase your immune system yourself. Because if you do get it, then you've got more of your antibodies and stuff of your own body to then fight it off. But it will just be a case of survival of the fittest, as bad as it sounds.
Yeah, that's
But personally, I don't know about you two. Would you, let's say the vaccine is for free, for example, would you still use it?
Probably. I'm not bothered either way, though. I'm not. If I take it, then cool. If I don't take it, then I don't think it's going to make as much of a difference. It's like I just compare it to the flu vaccination that's going around. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's good to
Yeah,
get
the
it,
flu,
but if you do
I
get
agree.
it,
But
yeah, you
with
were
the
saying,
flu, it has been tested for over many years. This one seems like it's rushed. Everything's just
yeah,
like, we need to get it done, get it done, get it done. It's like, calm down, try and get test results, try and make sure it's working, because apparently the virus can mutate and
exactly.
create these new things in your body. How does it deal with that in terms of the vaccine? Does it? Because bear in mind, it might be a dead virus for all we know, being planted into your system. But how does it work with all these other mutations? Would it still mutate even if it's dead? Because some virus apparently it's dead, but it still mutates and does other things. So because of the little particles that it has. So I don't know. I mean, personally, I would even if it's free, I wouldn't use it. Just try and deal with it exactly like you're saying. Just create, make your immune system better by drinking and eating healthily and staying fit.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Not to say that all vaccinations don't work or whatever. I'm not one of the people that think like vaccinations cause autism or something like that. But at the same time, a vaccine doesn't prevent you from getting it. It just means that you've got a buildup of antibodies. So it could. It's not. The thing is, my thing is not anti-vax, but my thing is vaccination isn't the only answer. When
Yeah.
you're young and stuff, that yeah, sure, that they've got. It's worth getting vaccinated and stuff like that, but with this, I just don't. I'm not sure that it's the only answer to solving COVID. Which what it comes across as the media that this is the only thing that's going to ever stop COVID.
Yeah. I obviously I don't want to go into like conspiracy theory and all those things, but obviously some people are saying that the entire reason they are pushing for a vaccine is because is because there is this saying that they want to obviously get everyone vaccinated, and once they get everyone vaccinated, they're gonna, I don't know, maybe it's gonna have like some kind of chip or whatnot that monitors everybody. So that is obviously where the conspiracy part comes in. So why the media is then pushing for the idea of having a vaccine and nothing else, and instead of saying, oh, if you're just healthy, it would at least give you a bit a fighting chance.
But what it is as well, people, Femi, as well, people are always looking for the miracle cure.
Yeah,
I think people are always looking for do I want to, it's the same way that not to get diabetes, you need to eat healthy, stay off certain subjects or this, that, and the other. But people go, no, or like in the same way that to get healthy, you need to work out, you need to eat a healthier diet. And people go, no, I don't want that. Where's the surgery for that? Where's the pill for that? And I think that's kind of growing up in this generation. Even my granddad, to a certain extent, when he was alive, he was always looking for the something to cure diabetes with this medical cream. And as you can imagine from Indian stores, there's always like this medical cream or medical pill that you take that would somehow work and cure, which doesn't. But they always try and take the easy way out because, especially when you come to the West, a pill from a pharmacy can fix everything, which it does. But we've created a pharmaceutical industry that just that makes you hooked on these drugs for your life, rest of your life, which I'm just kind of not a big fan of as well.
yeah, that is 100%. That's 100% true. We've become a society that's been addicted to drugs really, because we don't necessarily look for we don't necessarily look for prevention. We tend to just look for a quick, yeah, as I said, a quick fix, something that would just quickly that we
Or
think,
maintenance. We're just
yeah,
going to maintain it as it
yeah,
is rather than fix it.
yeah, exactly. Even for weight loss as well, because obviously you have all this you have a lot of people trying to diet and lose weight and everything, but instead of being like, okay, the best way to lose weight is to exercise, eat well and everything, they'll be
Naturally.
like, nah, yeah, they'll be like, oh, we need to. There's this weight losing pill that you can take that will help you burn fat. There's a cream you can rub on your
Yeah,
body that will help you burn fat and all and
Or
all.
surgery.
Right. Yeah, or
yeah.
even surgery as well. You know, so it's like, oh, what's the point?
Because it's easier. It's easier to take a pill than it is to actually commit to going working out
Yeah,
once or like 4 times a week or something like that, and
yeah,
pushing yourself or changing who you are.
hmm,
It's easier to just take a pill.
yeah, yeah. I guess so. Yeah. Did you guys see the what was it? You know, Adele, the singer.
Oh my
Mhm.
god, yeah, she lost weight, innit?
I.
People are
I didn't know it
backlashing
was
on
her.
her when it's not even her fault. It wasn't even about her weight loss, but people are taking it again. People have these insecurities about themselves, and they
Yeah.
project it onto especially celebrities because they're the most famous people.
Mhm.
And I'm just like, let the woman be her. I don't care.
Yeah,
I-
it's her choice. I mean, she was, I think there was a picture of her wearing Jamaican flag and having the Jamaican dreadlocks or just dreadlocks, and people were just describing her doing, she wants to become a Jamaican.
Mhm.
But it's whatever she wants to be. I mean, she hasn't done anything negative. I wasn't shocked about what she was wearing or whatever. I
Yeah.
was just shocked that wow, she lost weight. I didn't even know it was Adele. Someone wrote Adele, and I was like, where is she in the picture? 'Cause I just saw this woman. I thought, what is this woman trying to be Adele? And then I looked online and found out she actually did a big weight loss. And
Yeah, it was
credit to her.
dramatic.
Is really good. But maybe it could be as we were discussing, it could be a confident issue that she used to have. I don't know, but at the end, she does look better and healthy. But I wouldn't say better in terms of look. I think she looked more beautiful when she did previously.
Yeah.
But I think if it's a good thing,
Mhm.
health wise for her, then I'm happy for her. Hopefully, whoever it
What
is, it's not
What are
just
your
a
thoughts,
celeb.
Femi? Because I know you brought it up.
Oh yeah. Well, personally, obviously, in terms of looks or whatever, yeah, she did look better when she was a bit, she was, I would say, not obese, let's say chubby. She looked better then.
I don't even say chubby. I don't know. I think it's just her physique, isn't it?
Yeah, and yeah,
Mhm.
and obviously her face had a more classic or classy look when she was a bit more, a bit on the chubbier side. A bit, and now that she's lost weight, I think she just wants to enjoy the perks of being, thin.
Young.
Yeah, exactly. That's
She
literally
looks
what
a
I
bit
think.
more chavvy now.
Yeah,
A bit
exactly.
more
And I
of
think she just wants to
a
let loose.
ghetto-like type.
Yeah. All the stuff she missed out of when she was, she was younger. I think she just wants to just do
She wants to live it now, yeah.
it. And that's why I think she obviously did wore the clothes and everything. But personally, I don't necessarily think it's anything bad like what she did. Like it's her just I think it was it's in Nottingham Carnival that she was in that carnival place, and obviously that's the norm there. You know,
Mhm.
people from different cultures, they come in and they mix and they obviously do their
Pe-
own thing.
People
Yeah,
forget where carnival came from as well, which was
yeah,
this kind of like anti-oppression movement of just
yeah,
freedom and love kind of movement.
yeah,
And it seems to be people have twisted it into this violence, aggression, um, weed smoking culture, which it originally wasn't.
She was
really.
actually against those sort of acts.
Exactly, it was
Wow.
against people being
Positive
who
sides
they.
of this just coming
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Hmm.
But now
Wow,
they're exactly that they're using it.
But
What were
she
they
can wear a
throwing?
Jamaican.
Throw acids, wasn't it, in some of the last
hmm,
carnival?
Yeah, it's stupid, but it's like I don't know. I think that I think if she's wearing a Jamaican flag or I don't know, this cultural appropriation, I think people have just twisted out of control because
yeah,
it's if you're my thing is if somebody wants to wear a sari or something, I've got no
yeah,
problem with it, or like
yeah,
something from my culture,
mhm,
whatever. But I don't really, I don't know. It's kind of good. I don't see it as a negative thing if somebody does wear it
mhm,
because there's people in India and stuff like our cultures that are like they're going, yo, you can wear it. We want people to like embrace our culture and
yeah,
like show respect. I don't. But we did grow up in a generation where that was unacceptable. Like not unacceptable.
Yeah.
People used to just use that and just go, oh, this looks nice. I'm going to wear it. And you don't particularly need to like know that much about the culture, whatever. But people used to take the piss with it. I think it came down to especially the way that like the stereotypes of black people
yeah,
where of like they wear their pants low and they do this and do that and that's where it kind of was like, oh, it's all if somebody looks like this they have to be a robber, a
mm,
gangster, a rapper or something like that. I think that's where it comes from. But I think the pendulum. I think most people understand what they mean by if somebody's wearing a Jamaican, like the Adele thing, if she's wearing a Jamaican flag. People understand that she's not trying to bother anybody. She's like, okay, that's cool. And obviously, London's got a massive Caribbean influence.
Yeah.
Like the language is affected massively by it. So I don't see a problem with it at all. But again, there are going to be some butthurt people that are just like, I'm going to be angry at something because of this. But I'm like, just put your anger towards people that actually can, not Adele.
Yeah, basically.
I definitely know. I just think what's happened is that the new generation, or the most current generation, what they think about now is to always just look for something to be angry about or to be upset about.
You see, I don't think so, man. I think that's what the media portrays us as, because the old news media has to talk to older people, because newer people don't read and buy newspapers. So they're gonna put out things that are like, you see this person, this is what this generation thinks. And I just don't think that. I think most people, if you take all the generations, think about it the same way. Like, yeah, whatever. Like, they're not bothered. But I think they try to put one against another. They try to fight this against this person, because it's always the them that we don't know. Do you know what I mean? It's always a generation. It's not. We're not talking about somebody's brothers or your cousins or your this or your that. It's not them. It's the other people. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I'm saying the same amount of butthurt people existed in the 70s, in the 50s, in the 1890s. The same butthurt people existed then, but people have a voice now. So I just don't think, but then they just try and use it as, this is what you guys all think. You were the rational ones. You are the normal ones who believe the right thing, that are very rational thinking. They're the weird ones. And that's the thing that I have a problem with.
It's like, for example, the saga with Lionel Messi. Is he going to leave Barcelona, or is he going to stay, or is he going to go to Man City? Oh, he's definitely leaving. I don't know. The funny things, the most interesting fact about the whole transfer saga about Lionel Messi wasn't leaving or staying. It was actually, he used a fax machine, right, to send his request that he wants to leave. A fax machine, not an email.
How is that?
Right? I don't even know how to use one of them.
I thought that is actually, I thought that was class of him to do that. He
Was
used
it?
old technology to do that. I was like, wow, you know what? Thumbs up, mate. This is.
What's going to do? Write a handwritten letter?
I would have probably wrote.
He's going to send a carrier pigeon.
Exactly.
Like in the war, 1930s style. You can afford a couple of them. You can send one per letter, and they have to like spell it out like, I am leaving.
But now he's decided. He did an interview, I think a few days ago, and he decided that he's going to stay because his family were crying. I don't know how nightmare that was from his perspective, but all his family's crying, and the fact that he doesn't want to take the club to court, so he's going to stay for another season. But I don't know. I'm not really interested in him or whoever, but I'm more interested in Liverpool, obviously. But
Hence on Twitter.
The only thing was that fax machine was the highlight for me.
The fax machine's funny, the fact they use that, but again, it's because people can't track it. Well, people can still track it through a fax machine. The thing is, I don't know. Fax machines were kind of around before the computer, and I don't see the point in using them. But if somebody told me to repair a fax machine, I'd probably just say throw it in the bin and get a computer or get a printer, because I don't know how these things use. It's like saying, oh, the floppy disk is not working. I'm like, well, good for you. Here's a USB and actually work in the 21st century, you know?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's just...
That's what I think.
I usually wonder, do you guys remember, was it one of our lecturer, the one that teaches us, he dresses like Jack Sparrow. I can't remember his name.
Oh, yeah, I can remember. I remember his name. I'll tell you off camera.
Yeah. And,
yes, he was crazy.
I know. I remember that he never upgrades his phone. It's like he never upgrades it. I've seen him use the phone, and it's like, maybe there's like, the brick. Is it the brick Nokia or the flip phone?
Like old 3210s.
Yeah, that's what he uses, and I'm like.
Yeah, because I don't know if Dawan, you're in that class or not. 250.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
I remember the guy. I used
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Jack Sparrow.
Yeah. That again, but imagine this guy taught computer networking, and he's behind on technology. But it just shows you it's that kind of thing is just funny to me.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
what I liked about him was the fact that he didn't give a damn about anything. He wanted
Which
to
is
be
good.
Mhm.
I quite like that he didn't care. That he's like, yeah, but he knows himself, and he's like, fair. He's not trying to be somebody else. He's just like, yeah, I'm a bit of a weirdo. But if you come close to him, you definitely can smell the coffee and cigarettes on his breath.
Yeah, espresso. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to drink so many of them.
Yeah.
Kept that Starbucks in business for sure.
I know.
Sure, yeah. But what was your point, by the way, Femi? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just obviously just saying that because obviously it teaches because it teaches obviously computing and everything, and then it decides not to use the latest phones and everything, and I'm like, why?
Okay.
I'm surprised I never actually asked them that. Wait, why are you using? Why don't you obviously upgrade? I'm surprised I just never asked them that one day.
And maybe he's probably cautious about the latest phones. That it's a lot of information is being processed by the OS developers, if it's Apple or Android being Google. So it's probably a lot of people tend to be very concerned. They like to keep the old phones, and the government's been trying to stop people buying those, obviously, but it's still being sold on eBay. You can find them, and it's crazy, yeah.
Moral of the story: if you don't want your stuff to be traced, then use a carrier pigeon. Nobody's tracking them. Not in the 21st century.
That's good. Just send a carrier pigeon, and that will send a message.
It'll end up at some wrong and you just see it on the news one day. They'll capture like some, I don't know, some Syrian person has found your pigeon halfway through, and it's like not even a relevant message. I can't read this. What's going on?
I don't know, man. To be honest, it's just I don't know. Technology, it's crazy. Even like the freaking. I think the filters. You know what? Like those filters that they use to change your picture. It's getting crazy now. It's worse than makeup.
Right, yeah. Photoshop editing, or you mean the camera filters?
Yeah, now apparently now there's a camera filter that will allow you to modify your face however you want while you're on camera and you're moving. So if you wanna, if you let's say you meet someone and you say, okay, send me a picture of yourself, or send me a video of yourself, they can
they can put in the what's it called, the filter of you them being a man or a boy. You can change like genders and stuff.
Yeah.
And
there were filters before, obviously, where you aged, and that was a big thing at the time.
Yeah, but now it's
you
crazy.
looked a bit 50, so you could be a 12-year-old. How would you look at 85?
Well,
yeah, I see what you mean. It's a bit scary, isn't it? Because some of the filters does a very good job.
Yeah, and what I find is that obviously they imagine you get catfished by someone who filtered their face and everything, and then you meet them in real life and you're like, wait, what's going on? Who is this person? You're not the person in the picture. I don't know, man. I just think overall technology it's good that we're having a lot of technology, but I think it's getting a bit too much.
Yeah, it depends on, but you just got to use it less, and then choose what you use, because everything's available at the moment. But it depends on what you use.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll leave it there for that one, guys. So it's been great, Femi and Dawan, for you to join me as usual. We'll make sure to check in. Yeah, hopefully Femi will get that light.
I just
won't look like he's in a horror movie, like he's doing a narration with a torch.
I know. Spend the entire podcast fixing my light.
It's all cool. We'll get it sorted. We're still figuring this stuff out as we go. But yeah, make sure to like and subscribe and everything. Thank you for making this far, and we'll see you all in the next video. So bye-bye.
Yeah,